Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Japheth Johnson, and welcome once more to Blockchain for All. Uh, well, it's 2 days. We have not been online for the show, but we are back again with an awesome speaker for today's event. Blockchain for All is sponsored by Big Hunter, Fast Track Wealth Academy, VHIPA, and 7100 Print Limited. Blockchain for All is a program to help individuals understand how blockchain is important to our daily lives. And this has been an interesting moment for us over the few weeks where we have been able to bring up speakers from several fields of study, field of expertise to explain more about how blockchain has been important to their sector. So over the weeks, we have been able to have speakers from like of Mr. Seth, Mr. Samuel Nengolong, Mr. Orji, Mr. Lawrence Enebeli, and a whole lot of others, which you can actually watch previous session or their videos on our channel, which is Big Hunter HQ. And also you can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube to watch our previous sessions. So today we'll be having a wonderful speaker. He's an entrepreneur, a business coach and educator, and he has had a lot of experience in the field of blockchain, also in the field of business, entrepreneurship, investment. So he'll be talking a lot about how we'll be able to build an investor mindset around blockchain technology. So we're trying to see how we'll get our speaker on board as he's somehow facing technical challenges. Our speaker will join us very soon. Our speaker for today is nobody but Mr. Oladapo Olaniyan. He's the managing director of 7100 Prince Limited here in Abuja, and he'll be talking on the topic building an investor mind around blockchain technology. So a lot of us need to understand what it means to be an investor, or how can you build a mindset to become an investor, even in a digital and a physical business space. So it's very important to understand how a good mindset will help us understand how to pick out good projects to invest in. So it's going to be an awesome moment as we wait for our speaker to come up on board for today's program. So kindly share this link to your friends and family as we wait for our speaker to join us. You can follow us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube to watch this event live. All right. So thank you very much for sharing the link with your friends and family. We have been able to get our speaker on board. So in a few minutes time, I'll add up our speaker and he'll do a quick introduction. I have done a little bit of introduction about him, but he will also do an introduction about himself, and so that before we'll be able to move on. So a lot of us will be able to um, hear what he does, and then we'll ride on from there. So welcome. Good evening, Mr. Oladapo.
Good evening, Mr. Japheth. How are you today, sir?
So I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for taking our time to join us today on Blockchain for All. We are really excited to have you, and in fact, it's one of the topics we have all been waiting for, to have an expert in the field of business, in the field of entrepreneurship, to talk about this wonderful topic: how to build an investor mindset around blockchain technology. We know the blockchain technology has a lot to offer, but before we go diving into the topic, I think you will just do us well by introducing yourself to our audience. Welcome, sir.
All right, thank you for having me, Mr. Japheth. My name is Oladapo Olaniyan. I'm an educator and an entrepreneur. I'm a business person. I'm the managing director of 7100 Limited. We are in the business of branding, businesses and corporations and digital printing. So basically, I am in the creative industry, and also I'm a crypto enthusiast. So that's just about me for now. Thanks for having me here.
All right, so thank you for that wonderful and quick introduction. Thank you very much once more for joining us. For anyone that has not really shared, we don't want any person to miss this event, so you can kindly share this link to your friends on WhatsApp and other channels so that they'll be able to join us to watch this event. So, thank you, Mr. Dapo, for taking our time to join us today. I know how it has been a busy day, and really, it's awesome to have you here. So, to start with, we are talking on a very sensitive and important topic that has to do with Nigerians or Africans building a mindset of investor. But first of all, we just want to help us talk about what do you look at mindset in the first place? Because when we understand definition of words and how they are being used properly, I think we'll have a good understanding on taking out benefit from them. So you help us understand what it means to build a mindset, or what does it mean to have a mindset.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Japhet. So basically, what it means, what the word mindset means, it's easy to define because from the word itself, it means mindset, to set your mind. All right. If your mind is structured in a way that you are not getting the results which you desire, you might probably just need a mental shift, to shift your mind and reset it and structure it in a way that will align that which you are trying to achieve. So what the mindset basically means is you look at what you want to achieve and then you check the structure of your mind, the way your mind is structured, the way your thinking is structured, all right? And look at it with that which you are trying to achieve, the goal you are trying to achieve, and then you know if the mindset you have actually corresponds with that which you are trying to get. So if it's not going to work, all you need to do is to reset your thinking, to reset your mind. Because you see, the mind is an empire, or it's a ground. For instance, if you nurture your mind, it's just like the way we feed our belly, you eat food. You also have to feed your mind, because if you don't nurture your mind, then it's just like you have a ground or you have a field in your compound which you don't weed. You don't weed the grasses, so you have all sorts of things growing, unwanted things growing from it. So that is just the way the mind is. So you have to always nurture your mind and make sure you set it in a way that aligns with the goal which you are trying to achieve. I hope I'm able to do justice to that, Mr. Jaffet. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for that beautiful explanation. So, really, as you have said, the mind holds a lot, and if it's not well structured, then we'll not be able to actually understand what we're going. So, if we're having a lot of confusion, we need to go back to the mind and fix it. So, thank you for that one. So, we we are very happy to have someone from the business field, someone that understands investment properly. So, and a new technology coming up. This is a new technology that has proven itself over a decade to be efficient, and a lot of businesses, a lot of startups are already going up to use the blockchain to build businesses. So, and to build the mindset of an investor, what do we need to start looking at first? Because I think the mind is very important, which you have said, okay, mind is very important to look at, to understand. and see how we're shaping up the mind. So, as a young person that wants to go into investment, what are those things I should look at? Are there things I should look before going into investment? Are there criteria to become a good investor? Or how do you see before we even go down into being an investor around blockchain technology and solutions? So how will you talk about building an investor mind? What do we need to look at to become an investor in a general aspect?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jaffet. You see, basically, generally, what it means to build an investor mindset is, you see, the word investment in itself connotes two things. When you are talking of investment, it means you are taking an action today. Like my mentor taught me, he said investments basically means buying your future today when it is cheap. So two things are involved. It means today, there is the today, and then there is the future. So investment means you are taking an action today to ensure that your reality today is different from what your future holds. So, like we said earlier, mindset, if you are going to investment, then there is a particular mindset which you have to have. But you see, the unfortunate thing is we live in a generation now where people want results without the willingness to be part of the process to get that result. People want things too fast. People want things to happen too quick. And I've been in business for a while, and with my experience and years, I've been able to gather that anything that is legitimate and that is worthwhile takes time. Yes, we need live in a world now where technology has made a lot of things easier. So, people say, I see a lot of people these days talk about slow and steady no longer wins the race. It's now fast and furious and all of that. Well, fine, it's all good. But the truth is, you see, like one of my favorite teachers used to say, you have to make haste slowly in business, in investment. You make haste slowly. So what does this mean? When you are making haste, to make haste means to hurry. So we are telling someone to make haste, it means to hurry, to act fast, to do something fast, to take action fast. But slowly means while you have to act fast, you also have to develop the mind of being patient. You have to be patient, all right? You have to be disciplined. I've not met any successful person who does not know how to wait. So as an investor or as a young person with an investor mindset, what it basically means is you have to know how to wait. You have to develop the discipline to wait. You must know how to wait. It's important that I emphasize this because you see, I see a lot of people go into investment and what they look at is, okay, what am I going to get in this so short while and all that. I was surfing the internet last night and I stumbled on a young Nigerian man who is based in Miami. And I saw one of the book which I think he wrote. I've not read the book, but I just saw the title and I think the title of the book was The Accidental Millionaire, How Bitcoin made Me Rich. And when I was reading through his bio, I discovered that this guy bought Bitcoin in 2011. That was 10 years ago. So it depends on your definition. Even yes, it might be that he's an accidental millionaire, but to me, in the sense of the word, it's not really accidental because 10 years is a long time. So people say the blockchain, is a space with so many opportunities that can, in the twinkle of an eye and just like that can turn you a millionaire overnight. Yes, I agree to that. It's a fact, but it won't happen overnight. Do not expect it to happen overnight because this is the mistake a lot of young people make, and then they rush into investment without doing their research, doing their study of investment because they want they want results fast. They are looking at quick results. They want to put in money in a business or in a venture and then earn the money fast. So what it means basically to develop an investor mindset is when you are going into something or you are putting your resources into something, you have to always have a mindset of the future. You have to be futuristic in your thinking. Your thinking must not be in the now, because you see the blockchain technology, or let me be more specific, the cryptocurrency space, is so volatile that if you don't have a futuristic mind, you can go into something or a project now, and then all of a sudden you are seeing something different from what you had expected. But if you are futuristic in your thinking, as long as you have done your research on that project, you've done your findings, and you see that, okay, this project has good fundamentals, they have good use cases, and you believe in the project, no matter what you are seeing, because the truth is, even the physical business we do, every business have a time that they go through their double turbulent, what we call the turbulent stage. So what happens is, if you have not developed that investor mindset, that futuristic, what it basically means is to be futuristic in thinking. Every investor is futuristic in thinking. Their thinking is not in the now. As a young person who wants to go into investment, you have to be futuristic in your thinking. If you are always thinking of the now, or what you are seeing in the now, you might be frustrated. But if your thinking is futuristic, you have your eyes on the goal, and you know these things, yes, it may happen shorter than, we had one of our speakers, earlier speakers on this platform, Mr. Lorenzo, said something like, if you are going into a project on blockchain, you have to have a mindset of at least minimum of 4 years. So the results you are expecting may happen before that. But the truth is, if you are already futuristic in your thinking and you believe in the project, you've done your research and you know they have good fundamentals, they have good use cases, this is a real project, and you are futuristic in your thinking, no matter what you are seeing, no matter the reality, what the reality may seem in the now, you won't be too bothered because you believe in the project and your thinking is futuristic. So you'll be able to still, maintain your peace and keep your eye on the goal. Because as an investor, the truth is, I always tell people, do not expect things to happen immediately. Do not even expect things to happen in the short term. You always have to think ahead. Minimum 5 years for me. I think 5 years. 4 years is reasonable, because the truth is, you see, that 4 years, you must have navigated the bulls and the bears markets. You must have experienced all the bullish and the bearish thing. So you would have built the mind and permit me to use the shock absorber to be able to absorb whatever volatility you are seeing in the market. But if you don't have that mindset, that futuristic, you are not futuristic in your thinking, you always want things fast. You might be frustrated because you expect something to happen in a year or two and it's not happening. Then you are frustrated and you just fall out. Then maybe 6 months later it happens, or 2 years down the line it happens, or 3 years down the line it happens. So the truth is, in the blockchain technology or business generally, you have to understand that what you are going into may not give you the results you had expected immediately, or even in a short time. I hope I'm able to do justice to that.
Yes, so thank you very much for that wonderful explanation to understand that, okay, we have to take it slow, but at the same time, we have to be insistent when it comes to building a good mind towards investment. And as you have said, also consistency to understand what's really happening in that particular market space is very important. And patience, is something as an investor, I think it's one virtue that you really have to have as an investor, because if you're not patient, you might keep jumping from one project to another, and at the end of the day, you will not really get the full benefit of it. So it's really encouraging, and it's really enlightening hearing this from someone that has been in this business space for years. So I know most times we always have that aspect of, okay, I want to go into, I want to invest, but actually I don't even know what to invest. Should I go for physical business? Should I go for online business? Okay, as someone in this field and talking to, let's say, people that are coming in for the first time, how do you want them? What aspect of investment do you want them to look at? Should they go into physical businesses to see how they can, do they need to have their own businesses, or they should just jump into investing into other people's business before we even go to thinking, okay, can I take opportunities online? Can I go, okay, to get some of these crypto platforms? First of all, there's something that I need to do as to start, because you need to practice. Okay, so I want you to just explain for a newbie, how should I approach investment when it comes to practicalizing it now? Should I start my own, or how do you see the process going?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think personally, I advise that as a young person or a new person trying to come into this space, you see, it's always good to try out your own physical business first, so that at least with that you get to understand how business and investments work. You will get to the opportunity to experience it firsthand yourself. Get to understand or experience the nitty gritty of business. Because you see, the truth is, if you are putting your money in a project without any prior knowledge of how investment or business works, that is when you might expect things to happen at a shorter time than they may actually happen. Yes, you see, there's no assertion that is 100% correct. There is always an exception. But the higher chances are you are not the exception. So you have to think of how to create your own thing, because I tell people, most especially young people, for me, I think the most legit and easiest way of earning money is still to create some sort of value. You have to bring something to the marketplace. You have to be able to come up with something. It's not just all about, okay, investment, putting your money in investment, doing, yes, there are online businesses and investments which are good and everything, but the truth is, you see, you have to on your own be able to come up with something. You have to provide or produce a kind of product or service which is valuable and can be exchanged for money. So when you have this already, then you can now think of, okay, earnings from there, putting it in a kind of online investment or any other business. And the truth is, when we are also trying to set up your own business, for instance, there are things you have to look into. There are things you have to take into consideration, so that you don't just end up, coming up with something that is not valuable, because you also have to define your value well, because what you call valuable products may not be valuable to me. So you have to be, because my mentor taught me one thing. He said the amount of money you earn, it's the law, what the law of compensation states. The amount of money you earn will always be in direct proportion to two things or three things, I think. One, the need for what you do, that which you do, that service you say you know how to do, or that product which you say you are selling, how needful it is to the market, your target market. You have to look at that. Then how well you do it. Are you actually good very good in providing this service or in creating these products. That's another thing. And lastly is the difficulty therein in changing you. How easy will it be to substitute you? So when you even if you are trying to put your money in your own physical business, there is something called the five commandments of business. Trying to set up a business, you have to a kind of checklist which you have to look at. Okay, this business I want to start. You look at these things. It has to fulfill the commandment of need. It must be something which is needful. The services you are trying to render or the business which you are trying to set up, you must make sure and ensure that it's going to provide a service or a product which is actually needed. It must solve a problem. That is one. Then secondly, entry. You see, this entry term is very important too when you are talking about the blockchain, because the time we are starting something or the time which you are coming into a project, you have an idea or you have a business idea you want to start up, and you have identified that, okay, this is a problem in this environment or this particular community which I want to solve. So there is need for it. Then secondly, you have to also consider the entry points. Okay, now, are there people doing this kind of business already yet? If there aren't, then fine, go ahead. If there are, how much people are providing this kind of services already too. So you have to now, if you have them, then you try and study their businesses. Look at what they are doing right. Look at maybe areas which they are missing it. Then you build on that, and then you enter the market. So it means you are entering the market not necessarily with a new business or product, but in a new way. All right. Then it must also fulfill control. It must be something that you have control of. It must be a business which you also have a say in the management or the scheme of things, or maybe the terms and conditions of the businesses. If you are going to, for example, maybe it's possible you are not starting the business alone, all right? Then you must have some sort of control. The way that you don't just wake up and, for instance, the location of the business has been moved without you being consulted or that. So it must be a business which you have some level of control. You can decide when to open up business or decide when to close up business, or when if there are issues the business is facing, you must have control or also have a say in how to identify and address this issue. Then third, it must also be a scalable business. I've said four things now. It must fulfill the need. It must solve a problem. The entry points, control. You must have some level of control. Then it must be a business that is scalable. Okay, if I start this business, for instance, I'm based in Abuja, if I start this business in Lube, you see a business structure that can also repeat and maybe start another one, for instance, Gwagwalada. Is it a business that can take online, that can have online presence? Because the truth is we are in the stage we are now, we are living in a stage that your business, every business must have that online presence. So that gives you easy scalability. You can easily scale your business online, because even someone in London or in Europe can easily, come across your page or see your product and all that. Then it must also fulfill the time concept. It must be a business that can stand the test of time. So you don't just start a business that's okay, you are even maybe, for instance, you are trying to get people on board, and then all of a sudden 3 months, 4 months down the line, the business is no longer to be found. It must be something, which must be able to stand the test of time. It must be a business that's 3, 4 years, 5 years, because the truth is every investor, like I said earlier, are futuristic in their thinking. So your business must fulfill that. It must be able to stand the test of time. It must be a business that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line is still there, all right? So basically, our advice for newbies or new young people who are trying to come into this space to try and start something on their own first. You necessarily don't have to start it alone, but you see, learn. It's easier for you to learn business when you are actively involved in it. So you understand that okay, it takes so time minimum to build a business. Then it takes so time before you can even begin to earn from such a business. And it takes some amount of time before you could even now begin to take out resources from that business to put somewhere else. Basically, that's just my advice on that.
Wow, yeah, awesome, Mr. Dapo. I've just been trying to take my notes also because you have really said a lot in this short period of time. And really, I think this goes for even people that are already investors to really understand what it means to be an investor because the points you have stated that has to do with time, how can the business last long, how has it been solving the need in the market or over a period of time. The entry point, when should you invest in those that is it scalable when you need to be. So it's really important, I think, for both newbies and people that are already in the space because this point you have made has answered, I think, the other questions that we have to look at. How do we spot good business? So good businesses should have these characteristics in them. They should be able to fulfill all these points which you have made, and it's very important for us to understand because one of the challenges we have been facing is okay, I have made money, but at the same time, I don't even know how to spot good business to invest in. We know, yes, one of the principles you have taught it also in classes I've attended, which you have also talked about, how you should also make your money work for you. You know, it's a concept that most times people need to understand. You can't generate all the money you need by yourself with all your hard labor. So most time we are in that race of how do I spot good businesses to be able to actually put in money that will work for me. So maybe you also share a point or two on that. How should we be able to spot out because other speakers that talked about investment, that talked about skills. I also asked them this: how do you spot out um, good business? So please just tell us how can we be able to spot out good business, knowing from this part of the world there are a lot of fake projects, a lot of fake companies out there trying to defraud people, and you might have your own parameters to say, okay, this is what I see as a good business, this is what I see as a bad business. So, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, um, what do you look out to say, okay, this is a good investment or this is a good business to invest my money?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, you see, I've also had to learn some hard lessons by trying to adapt this whole concept of making your money work for you. But like you rightly said, it's not possible for you to earn all your money by being actively involved in every business or relying on your own efforts alone. Then I'm sorry to say the person might end up dying before his time. But the truth is, as an investor, the things I look out for in a business or the parameters I use to assess a business if it's worthy of putting my money in it, because I've also had to learn the hard way, put money in some businesses, and at the end of the day, in a short while, says is down and all that. Is some of the points I mentioned earlier. You see, you look at a project or a business, and then you find out, because the truth is, you cannot afford as an entrepreneur, as a business person, or even as an investor, you can't afford to just sit and expect to be spoon-fed with every information about a thing or a concept or a business. You might end up getting burnt. You have to learn to also do your own research in some way. And then you see, when you are trying to put money in a project or a business or an investment, the first thing I look out for is this particular project, all right? Is there a problem they are solving? Because already I now know that the only way to earn money is to solve problem for people. You want to earn money, solve problem. People whose problem you are solving definitely will pay you for that solution. So if I want to put my money in any project, be it on the blockchain or even a physical business, I look at it from the angle of, is there a problem? Is there a solution attached to this business which they are, is there a problem which they are solving? Is there a product which they have that is actually solving a problem? That's one. Then you check the fundamentals. You check the team. It's very important that you know the team behind such projects or businesses. You research them, look at the level of their integrity, look at their track record. Look at their track record, then you make your decision. Then also, despite the fact that you cannot afford to be actively involved in everything or every business which you put your money, I still feel like as an investor in a project or a business, you still need some level of control. You have to have control. Let's say, for instance, let me use the blockchain or use the cryptocurrency space as an example. If I'm buying Bitcoin, for instance, I don't decide the price. There are market forces which decide the price rather of the Bitcoin. But as an investor in Bitcoin, I have some level of control because the Bitcoin stays with me. The Bitcoin which I have put my money in is mine. So whether it's not important if I'm entering even the Bitcoin, maybe I bought Bitcoins in this, for instance, $60,000 mark, and then the next day it crashes down to $30,000. And I still have some level of control because even if it crashes down to zero, the coin is still mine. It's still in my control. I still decide what to do with it. So if you are putting money in a project or business, you also have to make sure you look at that you have some level of control. You be the one, you decide. You don't just put your money in a project or a business which you don't even have any leverage. And you can just wake up one morning and the business is gone and there's no any way you can even reach out to anything or your assets and all that. So you look at all these things, even in the physical business. If someone is taking a business proposal to me and you want me to invest in the business, if it has met these needs of, okay, it's actually solving a problem, and we have identified that the problem is not a problem which there are already too many solution providers to it in the markets already, all right? And then I've seen that, okay, the person has a track record. I know the person's track record because the truth is someone whom I don't know can't bring a business to me to come and a physical business now that, okay, he wants to start up this business, I should come and invest my money in this. The person may know me, but if I don't know the person, I have no knowledge of his kind of person. I have no knowledge of his business knowledge. I don't know his track record. It will be difficult for me to put money in his business. But if he has met that and knows that as an investor, because I'm putting my money in it, I will want some level of control. Yes, as an investor, there are businesses you will do definitely that you lose money, but nobody wants to lose money. Nobody willingly wish to lose money. So I still want some level of control before I put my money in any business. All right. So I look at these three things. Is there actually a use case on the blockchain now? Does the business have any use case? Do they have good fundamentals? Then is a physical business, is there a problem that this business is going to solve? Because to earn money, you must solve a problem. Money does not fall on trees. You must provide a solution. You must bring something to the marketplace in exchange for money. So if the project or business is not bringing anything to the marketplace, then there's no way I'm going to put my money in it because it has failed to fulfill that first part. Then I look at the team, their track record, integrity, and then I look for some level of control in the business before I put my money in it. Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you very much, Sharapa, for that wonderful explanation on how you're able to spot out good business and the bad ones. And you talked about control, you talked about track record, which is very important. Track record has to do a lot of what the team has been doing, people behind the team, how credible they have been in solving solutions that has to do with a particular problem over a period of time. And so it's very awesome. I've taken note of a lot of things, and I know our viewers are actually learning a lot from this meeting. And when it comes to business, you keep learning daily. I know it's not something you'll be able to share over a period of just 1 hour to share all your experiences on how to spot business. But we're actually in a new era that has to do with efficiency that the blockchain is bringing. We don't want to shy away from that, which I know you have also been a key active player in the blockchain space, looking at projects, investing in projects. So, how do you see blockchain bringing in efficiency? Is it actually really helping? Is it a criteria for us to also look at businesses that are adopting this technology to say, okay, this is good? We have been seeing what's happening with the recent crisis with Russia and Ukraine. A lot of people are saying, oh, if only they knew this was going to be so intense, they would have sold their real estate properties, they would have sold their televisions to actually buy it. And it's just giving us a hint to understand that anytime crisis can come up, a lot of things you must have gathered over the period of years, you can just lose it as a snap of a finger. So, how do you see blockchain and solutions being deployed on blockchain helping us expand in both asset protection, both efficiency in businesses, and I think in a general, how do you see blockchain helping us in several things that we have to do? Because everything we do now is business. Protection of our life is also business. Securing our money is business. So almost everything now has gone to business. So how do you see blockchain providing efficient service or solution to that?
Thank you very much, sir. You see, the blockchain technology has come to stay. It's a moving train, and anyone who is yet to get on board the technology is already behind. Because the truth is, you see, what the blockchain technology does is it makes it easier or it makes it difficult or almost impossible to cheat the system. Because what it does is if there's any transaction that happens on the blockchain, it is recorded across all the systems, all the computers rather, on that blockchain. So let me give you a practical analogy. Let's say, for instance, we decide that 2023 general elections, we are going to use the blockchain technology. It's automatically takes out this issue of I'm not going out to vote because my vote doesn't count, or issue of buying of votes, or multiple voting or voting rigging, because it's more like, take for instance, something happens or a transaction happens, and then we have over 200 million people in Nigeria population, and then every single one of us have a record of that event that took place. Every single person of over 200 million people have a record. So even if I misplace mine, I cannot argue the facts of that event because over 200 million people still have the record. So this is what blockchain does. It makes it almost impossible to cheat the system. So even on the blockchain, looking at businesses on the blockchain or projects on the blockchain, there are still projects which are not viable or feasible, or rather advisable to put your money, because people come up with projects like Mr. Lorenzo said when he had the session, that there are some projects that are, or businesses on the blockchain, that are not really smart contracts or real projects. They are just, he called it contribution project. I've seen a lot of them too, because that's why I said it's easy to spot these things or identify such businesses once you have this knowledge and you are able to first identify, is there an actual problem or an actual solution that this system is serving? Is there a use case for the project? What are their fundamentals? If a project has good fundamentals, just like any physical business, there might be challenges in the early stage, but once you have done your research and then you have been able to identify these things, you are good to go. You are relaxed, because you see, the truth is, in the blockchain technology, in the blockchain space, or in the cryptocurrency space rather, there are three kinds of people. You have people who are the spectators, you have people who are the traders, and then you have people who are the investors, the hodlers. So you see, in anything, it does not pay to be a spectator in any way, be it the crypto space or be it even in the physical business, because when you spectate, you are not doing anything. You don't get involved. So, and you see, the traders, what they do is the sophisticated traders, people who have really invested in themselves in the trading aspect, they've been able to devise a way to always even earn money or be in profits, irrespective of the direction of the markets, be it bullish or bearish, as they say. But you see, the truth is, they still won't be able to excuse themselves of the emotions that comes with the volatility of the market. But as an investor, a real investor with a futuristic thinking, once you invest in a project and it's a real and viable project, irrespective of the movement of the market, you are in a relaxation mode, because you know that definitely, in fact, when the value of a project drops, a sophisticated investor see an opportunity to enter again and get more, because you know definitely that it's not a matter of if it will ever, it's a matter of when. So you see, the blockchain technology is a technology which has come to stay and has affected our life more than we realized yet. Because like I said, if we decided to adopt the blockchain technology for our voting system, it solves a lot of problems. It takes a lot, if the issue of even trust or mistrust, it takes it away, because it's difficult or impossible to cheat the system. If I have a record of something, Mr. Jaffet have the same record, and over 200 million other people have the same record, and I miss mine, even if he also misplaces, we can still not deny existence of such events of transaction because there are other records. So this is what blockchain does basically. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Dapo, for that explanation to let us know that blockchain is really how to help every sector. I think no sector is left behind, and it's just for us to be able to embrace it and see how we'll be able to use it in our own aspect of what we actually do or the solution we try to provide. And also talking about how we should be patient because it's just starting. A lot of solutions are just new, so most times maybe the price fluctuation they go up and come down, but we need to understand how to give it time because if you can define that this particular project is going to solve a particular solution in the nearest future, where there's high possibility going in now, is better than just being a spectator. So, and that has been an awesome one for me to actually give me hope most times, even when you invest in projects, because even the physical businesses they face it. So it's just there for us to understand that you have to give it time, but it also left you to understand these particular businesses in the next 5 years. Will it be standing? Are they going to face a lot of challenges? Will there be competition? It's just like saying um, electronic vehicle EV cars will not take over in the next 5 years, thinking that it's just going to be petrol. No, so you have to think in the future how are things going to change, how are meetings going to change, how are deliveries going to change. So when you begin to understand that in the nearest future a lot of things will change, then you can start knowing where to invest your money. And really, you have been so instrumental and helping us to understand a lot that has to do with investment. Building a good mindset has to be the important one here because until the mind is empowered, we will not be able to actually do anything useful with it. So thank you very much, Mr. Dapo, for sharing this lovely 1 hour, educating us and teaching us a lot. Viewers have been enjoying this program. We have viewers from LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook at the same time watching, and it's really exciting to have you to explain a lot that has to do with the set topic. So I just hope that a lot of viewers also get to watch this video because it will be saved on the channels. So if there are other questions, you can follow Dapo on the social media handles to ask him, and you can even send him comments about this video, and I know very sure that he will explain more when it comes to investment. And I hope Mr. Dapo will still be on our show subsequently to be able to explain more about investment or other topics which I know you are very good at to help our viewers learn more. So thank you very much. We have spent 55 okay an hour now, and we have really learned a lot. Thank you very much, sir. On this note, you will just give us a last shout out and advice before we call it off.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having me, and I also appreciate viewers for their time and all. In closing, I think our generation, there's one thing I've learned that this generation is have to be more patient. We want things to happen too fast. We want things too quick, which is why a lot of us, fall for things or projects which are not worthwhile. And like one of my favorite teachers said, he said, you see, your ignorance will always be a business opportunity to those with knowledge. So you cannot even afford to not invest in yourself. Your personal development is key. You have to invest in yourself. The internet is there now. It makes it very easy to learn things. A lot of DIY, do it yourself, you go on YouTube, you see videos which you can increase your knowledge in some of these things. So you cannot afford to just sit down and expect. The largest university in the world now is the internet. There's virtually nothing you want to learn. Now you can't find resource materials. to increase your knowledge. And you see, the mind, like we said, started with the mindset. You have to constantly reset your mind. You have to be in a state which you are always checking how your mind is set. So you must keep improving yourself. You must keep nurturing your mind. You don't just feed your stomach with food. You also feed your mind, because just as food is to the body, so is knowledge to the mind. A nurtured mind is a background for ideas. A nurtured mind is a background for so many great things. You know, when your mind is well nurtured, when your mind is well structured, when your mind is, well constructed, it makes it easier for you to spot some of these things, or even you want to go into something, you know how to prepare yourself and all that. And then another thing I would advise is, when we are trying to embark on a project, it's good to always act fast. Like I said earlier, every successful person know how to wait, but it does not mean that they delay action. You make haste slowly, but you must know how to invest time to actually distill things down in whatever you want to do. Because I've come to a realization that when you spend enough time to think things through, when you spend enough time to distill things down and think things through, by the time you kick off, you move faster in life. You don't just jump into things. You take your time, you think things through, but you don't spend too much time spectating or asking too many questions. But it does not mean that you do not ask necessary questions or find out things. But because when you spend enough time to actually think things through, you see the end from the beginning. Then so by the time you start, you move faster in life. Thank you very much for having me once again.
So, all right, thank you very much, Mr. Dapo. Really appreciate your presence here. Thank you for taking our time to teach a lot that has to do with the topic. And well, as I've said, time is not on our side. I know we can't just finish learning all from you in just an hour. And we just hope subsequently you'll be able to come up online again and share more light on how blockchain is helping us move into a new era. And we just hope that things will keep becoming better, and the world will give us a better place to keep developing and keep providing solutions to the challenges. So thank you very much, viewers. Really appreciate everyone that has been following up on with the program. And there's a giveaway from the sponsor. So ensure you just have your key contact accounts ready, and our winners will be selected to actually get the reward from the sponsor. So thank you once more, Mr. Dapo, and for every viewer, we wish you the best as you go out there to explore the world of blockchain and its solutions. So do have a wonderful day and remain blessed.